Welcome to this edition of Beauty Business Matters, and I'm here with the amazing Sara Shoemark. Sara, I've worked closely with for many, many years, and Sara has grown from just her and into a multi-site salon, multi award winning, the Glow Salons, and as well, Sara is an international judge. She is in Beauty and the Best books as a best-selling author and speaker, and just all-round amazing person and so inspirational. Welcome to this episode of Beauty Business Matters, and I am honoured to have Sara Shoemark with me, who I have the absolute pleasure of doing so many things in the industry with. It's like we joined at the hip sometimes with things that we do, but Sara has Glow Salons and multi award winning. And Sara, I thought we could go through your journey and as well really touch on all of the exceptional things that you do in your salons and with your team. So can we just go back and start from probably before you had the salons and in your career? Where it all began.
Okay, so I was 17. I tried various careers. So I didn't have this calling to the beauty industry like many people did. And I think my mum and my grandmother were thinking, what is she going to do? So they suggested Beauty Therapy College, which was quite unusual then because you're talking about 40 years ago, probably. Mm-hmm. There were not beauty colleges around by where I lived. So I was packed off to London to do my Sodesco training. And, I am thankful to this day. I get emotional thinking about it that I found this industry because I just love it. And from that moment on, I sort of became focused. I became driven and I found something that I loved. So I did my Sodesco training. I then stayed in London for a few years. I was living there with my now husband, then partner. And I stayed there for a few years. I worked in a couple of London spas. I worked in Harrods and Selfridges and Fortnum's. So I had an amazing experience. I really did. And it was what I needed. When I was at college, it was super strict, which was again what I needed. They sorted me out. And then again in Harrods, it gave me... I was young. It taught me about life and how to behave and everything. I mean, I was retailing, but it was everything that went with it. It was an amazing experience.
It's way back in the days of the white uniforms and the...
With a pink bow on the back. Oh. I dread to think what anybody would say now. And if I didn't have tights on, I was sent home to wear them, or my shoes weren't polished, or I didn't have a petticoat on. I was in constant trouble for things like that. But things have changed. Thank goodness, shall we say.
And you also worked where you were looking at smaller brands as well, for looking in sourcing different interesting brands and things, weren't you?
So what I did then after London is I moved north just so I can get it in order. And I couldn't find a job because there were no salons, not even in hotels or spas or anything. So that just shows how our industry has grown, doesn't it? Incredibly.
Now there's 10 on every street.
I know. There was nowhere to work, Susan. So I thought, what do I do? So I did my teacher's training. I taught for a while. Wasn't for me. I missed the contact with the people and, sort of being with people. So I had no option really but to start my own treatment room. It wasn't something I planned. I did it. And I always say I was never the best therapist, but I was the only one. So I became extremely popular because there was no one else around. And I grew super quickly. Grew from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 really. And we had a brand change along the way. We were a training centre as well initially because I had my teaching qualifications. And yes, it was important to me, going back to your question, that I stocked the best products. I felt being in the north, I wanted my clients to have the same experience and opportunity to purchase as my clients in Harrods and Selfridges and the luxury spas I'd worked in had. And people thought I was a little bit crazy because they said, oh, people won't pay that. And I thought, let's give them the opportunity. You know, I'm not going to push anything on anyone. And just because it's good, it's not always expensive as well. I think sometimes it's a preconception that just because you're stocking something good, it's going to be outpriced. So I sort of had dealings with buyers and things and knew what went into them bringing a product into Selfridges or Harrods. And I thought, right, I will, because I'm north, I'm away from them, I will just have a look at what they've got and perhaps do a little bit of copycatting and offer similar brands. So that's still the way I work now. Is I tend to find if I want to introduce a new brand, I look at the big stores because I know they've been through the most rigorous whatever it is to get into those stores, because people trust me, Susan. We've had our salons for 35 years and they trust me, and I don't ever want to let them down. So I need to make sure everything I offer them is safe, is good, it works.
Yeah. So did you, obviously to start with, it was just you.
Yes.
Did you always have the intention of having like a few salons and a huge team? And
no, not at all. I never thought about it really. I opened up, I got busier and busier and busier, and eventually got too busy to cope. So took somebody on to work with, and she's still with me today, which is wonderful, and trained her myself because I was qualified to teach, examine, assess, and grew from that. We then grew to a larger building a couple of times. And I also felt to offer the people who dedicated their time to me opportunities, I needed to grow, to give them the chance to not just work with me, to perhaps work in their own sites, to progress within their careers. So that was another reason why I grew. In fact, why we had salon number 3 was because one of our leaders had been off having babies for a few years, came back, and she needed something, and we didn't have a position like her old one then, so we opened another salon for her.
Oh, wow.
So because she's, you know, if you've got good people, you need to use them, don't you, and be grateful for them and give them what you can. But I very much have the mentality is, while they work with me, they've got one life. If they don't want to work with me, that's cool too, you know, but the door is always open. So I will always support them in decisions to move on and away. And in fact, I'm still in touch with so many girls I've worked with, some who've got their own salons who you know, and I support and help still. And also I had somebody rejoin us about 6 months ago who left me 20 years ago, had her own salon and has decided to close it, and rang me and said, can I come back? And I said, absolutely, that's wonderful. So, and they come back with a wealth of new knowledge and a wealth of, you know, things to give to me and to Glow and teach everybody.
I always say this. Unless someone's really, really burnt their bridges when they've left.
And it happens, hey?
Yeah. I mean, I always think exactly the same as you. I mean, our journeys have been quite similar in some ways because, you know, similar kind of length of time. It's just I decided to stay with the one clinic.
But you've done so much more in other ways. Come on.
But the thing is that, you know, like you, I stay in touch with lots and lots of therapists that, and you know, they've moved on to do fantastic things. They're all around the world, and quite often they'll go and then come back. And the thing is, it's just so lovely. And I just, you know, I think there's this big fear, isn't there, of like, you know, if someone leaves a salon, that they're going to take your clients and things. And I just think, you know, clients will find somebody.
And they're not yours, are they? They're their own person, and they can go wherever they wish. It's up to us to work to hopefully keep them.
But I mean, obviously you've got someone who's been with you 35 years. I have, like, my team have been with me for so long as well. And like you, we never lose anyone to another salon, another clinic. I've only ever lost one. But I always like support them in everything that they want to do. And then it is lovely when they come back. Like you say, then they've got like this lovely extra wealth of knowledge and things. And, you know, I do think after lockdown, we sort of, there's a lot who came out of the industry then. And I always like said, you know, just stay in touch, because quite often the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
But they have to try, don't
exactly.
they?
But I always feel it's really good. It's like with clients as well. I quite like it if a client, gets bought a voucher and they go somewhere else and then they come back and like go, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, they didn't do the other. It just makes you, I think, and you'll be the same as me. Quite often you're taking girls who haven't really worked in a lot of other salons and making them, like a glow girl or whatever, and for me, finish and touch. But the thing is that they haven't got the experience of knowing how good it is, what they've got, kind of thing. So I think it is quite good to go off and have some experience and come back.
One of our girls went away and she eventually became therapist to President Bush. And she's now back with us actually again now, which is lovely. So don't you feel like a proud mama on the schoolyard all the time? It's wonderful watching people achieve, isn't it?
Yeah. So from just having the one salon, then obviously we know number 3 came around because somebody had left and wanted to, and had babies and wanted a salon to work in. Where did number 2 come from then? How did that happen?
I can't remember. I think just growth. I think our first salon was in a town called Wrexham, which I think people have heard of now because of the football. And Chester is 20 minutes away, and we thought that would be a good place to have a city centre presence. So I think that was natural progression into Chester. I think as well we had girls that lived in Chester and we had girls applying. So it was easier to build your teams then because there wasn't as many salons. So I think we had so many people applying that we couldn't fit them all in one. So that was probably one of the reasons.
And was that an existing salon or was that a new one?
No,
you started
none of them
from
have
scratch?
been. Yeah, we've started them all from scratch, yeah. Not saying I wouldn't take an existing on, but they've all been. Oh, no, I have taken one existing on. The last one, number 4.
It sort of was and it sort of wasn't.
Yes,
wasn't it?
I started again, but it was a salon in its previous life and we still have the clients there now. So, yeah, I have.
Yeah, I can remember because obviously for so long you had the 3 and I was thinking, Sara's quite settled. And then it was like, no, I'm having another salon.
We'd planned to have 5 just before COVID. So we'd planned to open 2 more quite quickly. And then COVID hit and we were very blessed to be very lucky in many ways, but it ate into the monies that we had saved for future plans. So we were just grateful to still be here and teams were smaller and what have you. So it wasn't the time to grow. But then number 4 reared its head and I thought, do you know what, we'll be fine. Let's just go for it.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
And how, I know you have, you've got Forest software to manage the multi-site.
Yes, we love it.
And do you find that works really, really well?
Oh, I mean, it's amazing. We became computerized in 1993, just a couple of years after I began, or 94, which was very, very early, very early.
I know, I can remember at one point thinking, do we need a computer?
I'm
not sure. Now, can you imagine trying to run without, especially with a business your size?
It's just impossible because if people are off poorly, you'd be driving through the night, wouldn't you, to look at the appointment book and what have you, if you hadn't taken it home. Showing how untech we were, we had one training session with our new computer system very quickly, and they rang the helpline, and one of the girls shouted out to me, Sara, can you hold the phone for me? Because it was attached to a cable then. Can you hold the phone for me while I nip out? And I said, where are you going? You're on a call. She said, they've told me to get out of reception. And she was off because we were so unused to computer language. They'd asked her to click out of reception on the computer screen and she was off out of the door. So I said, no, come back, But that just shows how we were so unfamiliar with tech. Anyway, we had Premier Spa computer system for many years. And then I found Forest. Oh, and I just loved it. We moved mainly because the system we had couldn't offer us what we needed. And I'm just so grateful I found them. Like many things I've found within this industry, they are incredible. They have the biggest heart.
It's like a family, isn't it?
Oh, and they're just so helpful. The girls find them so easy to talk to. I'd never replace them. They're invaluable.
And working multi-site, does it just flows?
It's easy. It's easy. Everything about them is flawless and easy. And do you know what, Susan? If it's not flawless, they sort it.
Yeah.
They listen and they sort
that's what I
it.
like.
And and their summit is amazing. I look forward to that every year. And so do I take some of the team with me. So do they. But no, we're definite forest addicts.
Oh, fabulous. I know this year the summit is because Forest Summit's normally at the beginning of January, and we have our like Malta business boot camp the end of. So this year we actually moving so that Forest, because they needed our weekend, so it's like,
So people can do both.
yeah, which is great. So with a team of your size, how many have you got on your team?
It varies, but say up to 40.
Right. Wow. So obviously the onboarding for that, how does that work then? Because you can't be everywhere. Do you have a manager in each site, or is it a standard training that goes across and someone trains and then gets moved into location, or how do you onboard?
Okay. So how do we run it really? So basically, we've got lots of girls, obviously. Some of them like to stay in one place, and I respect that totally. We're all different, aren't we? Others like to move around a little, so that works too. We have a team of, say, leaders that I liaise with and that think like me, and I support them. I do go into all the salons, but not super often, because if I go in, I don't get as much work done as I do probably like you when I'm at home. I can focus more. And I do feel, going back to the day when I was in the treatment room doing all the clients, I can't do that because I can only look after one client in an hour. Now I've got the responsibility to look after perhaps however many clients in an hour, all the girls. So my job is to keep every single member of my team happy, because I expect them to keep my clients happy. And that's how I work. So I look after them. I sort of make sure they're doing what they want to do. They're progressing in the right direction, whether that's training, whether that's leading teams, whether that's specialising in certain treatments. And yeah, it changes and flows all the time, because we all change, don't we? You know, as we grow within the industry, we change what we like and what we don't like. So it's really keeping in touch with them. Communication is huge. We communicate and speaking to them regularly, and then giving everyone roles where they're strong, that they enjoy, they're passionate about, and liaising with them and supporting them and having the structures and in place so that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if anything goes wrong, do you know, I always say there's enough stress in the world, isn't there, outside of work? One of my rules is I don't want anyone to be unhappy in work if I can help it. I don't want anyone to go home feeling stressed, because there's no need, you know, there's just no need. Problems are all sortable, and ultimately it's my problem, not theirs. Yeah. So I try and take all their problems and troubles on board and sort them. And things go wrong. You know, things go wrong. We have client complaints. We have people leaving. We have drama. Yeah. But it's how we deal with it that matters.
It would be totally boring if we didn't have all of that.
Absolutely.
And as well, you know, the thing is, we all human. Things do happen. I always say to my team, you know, the thing is, if something happens, just say it. Doesn't matter, as long as
real, isn't it?
we can sort it out. You know,
totally.
And as well, I think how you're handling everything. Yes, you know, money is an important thing, but it's not the be all and end all for a team. It's like it's feeling part of something, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, with money and wages, it's tough, isn't it now? I can't offer what some places offer, but I can offer flexibility. And I always say, whatever's important to you in your life, tell me, and I will try and make sure you don't miss it. And I can give them that, which other people can't. So that then gives me an advantage. And I always think as well, Susan, does it matter when they're in work as long as they're fully booked?
Yeah.
Does it matter if it's a Monday 10 till 2 or a Saturday 10 till 2? As long as they're fully booked and between us, we can cover our opening hours. I'm quite flexible, which is why I can't be in the treatment room, because managing all that, I love it, but it takes time.
Another thing that takes time is, obviously, I know we both spend a lot of time doing judging nationally, which And I know you've just done a whole round of visiting.
It's fantastic,
salons.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
it's time consuming, but it's just
such an honour, isn't it?
It's
to go into
such an
someone's
honour. I
business.
feel so blessed to be able to do that.
So, but what we both look for, it's the little things that set salons apart. And that's what I'd like to touch on now, is because, you know, there's so many salons. There's a sea of salons out there, but it's the things that set you above everybody else. And it's sometimes those things that don't cost anything or cost very, very little.
Totally, Susan.
So when you are judging and when you go somewhere or in your own salons, what are some of the little things that you look for that make a difference?
Do you know, you're right. The smallest things in life are free, aren't they? And when I read the reviews, which I do regularly, thank you, Forrest, it's those small things that sometimes matter. I can make sure the girls are able to give good treatments, and I don't let them in the treatment room until they can. But it's those small things that those clients see. And do you know what, Susan? It's not hard, because out there in the world now, there's a lot of grumpy people, isn't there? I don't mean to be rude, but you go into shops, so you don't have to do a lot to make someone feel wanted and loved and respected. It's a smile. It's feeling welcome. Yeah. It's somebody just taking a moment, whether they're on the phone or not, to look up at you, to wave at you, to put a hand up, to show your hand to a seat. Those things.
Yeah. Using someone's name, things like that. It's like
Absolutely.
all the little things that make someone feel.
If they've got cold hands, we'll give them a hot water bottle on the desk. You know, just say, warm your hands on there. And that's what they remember when they're doing their Christmas shopping and that happened to them at Glow. They'll be back next year because that will stay in their minds. So where's my coffee cup? It's down there. So today I was super excited because I arrived in Peterborough train station, and the lady at Starbucks came to me and gave me a coffee, gifted me a coffee. It was just the most lovely feeling ever. And that's something that has happened before to me. And it was that happening that made me think, we need to do that. So we do give. It's the power of giving the unexpected. So sometimes if you say to a lady, your therapist has just had a cancellation, we're going to treat you to a massage after your facial today, you blow them away. You can't just always give because someone's complained. You know, you've got to give to say thank you and to show your appreciation too.
But like your coffee, the thing is, you're going to talk about that for a long time. You're not going to remember you're not going to remember the coffee, the taste of the coffee. It's going to be that experience.
How it made you feel.
Yeah. And it's just so special.
So when I'm judging, I'm just going back to judging because I think I digress, don't I? Being comfortable is super important to me. That costs nothing, does it? Being warm is super important to me. You know, those are the little things that cost nothing.
But when we judging as well, we go right from that very first touch point, isn't it, of like ringing the salon. And I always tell everyone to smile when they dial, because the thing is, you can tell when someone's smiling at the other end of the phone.
Totally. Yeah.
And it makes you sound so much different. So it's like there's little things that, you know, that don't cost anything at all, but make a huge difference.
Everyone can do. And another thing I say to the girls, look, if somebody walks in and they're a little bit grumpy, which happens, just don't go into the kitchen and say, oh my God, she's so grumpy. Just go and say, right, I'm going to make her happy today. And you can, because sometimes people take things too personally, the therapist. I teach them to sort of remember that they don't know what's gone on before they got here. They might have had a bump in the car. Their little child might be poorly at home. They could have left a newborn baby. So not to take things personally, but just look after them and kill with kindness, really, and turn things around. And all that doesn't cost a penny. There's enough that costs too much these days. So let's...
I can always remember, and I always talk to salon owners and my team use this as an example. I can always remember, because we have a 7-day money back guarantee with anything that someone buys, creams or whatever, but we would always send someone with a sample and buy in the product to use a sample first. But if not, even if someone opens a product, to me, I always think if my girls are prescribing the right or given the right treatments and the right products, then we are going to get those back. So, and in 30 odd years that we've done 7-day money back guarantee, I think we've only ever maybe had one product back, which we then just swapped. But I can always remember there's we have a nail treatment, nail growth polish, which has a money back guarantee to it. And a lady came in this day and wanted our money back on it, which we would have just given her anyway because it has a money back guarantee. She burst into tears, and it was just such a big drama. And I was just thinking, wow. and after she went, I just thought something's happened there. And when I rang her, she was like, I just don't know what happened. I've had the worst day at work. I just came in, and and I think it was just the final little straw, but it was like, and sometimes I think you don't realise that someone could have had the worst day ever. You just don't know what's going on in someone's life.
We had a lady come in once just after Christmas, and she was so angry, and I happened to be there, I think, or have I heard the story? I can never remember. Anyway, she came in and she got really angry with the young lady on reception, saying that we'd ruined her Christmas because she'd had a voucher and it was creased and the handwriting was poor. So, I'm just thinking, so anyway, it's not that, is it, Susan?
No,
it's not that. So we just say, I'm so sorry, rather than think, oh my gosh, how ridiculous, and try and argue with it. You just say, I'm so sorry, let me do it again for you. And when you come in, we'll make it up to you. There's no point in overanalyzing, is it? It's just trying to make people happy. And what a gift we have in our days to be able to do that.
And one thing I always like to say as well is that, and this works for team and for clients, because if someone comes in with a complaint, whether it's a team member or whatever, I always like say, don't, because quite often you can be put on the spot. And the easiest way to diffuse that, I always feel, is to just like, if someone says something to you, just like say, can I just come back to you on that? I just need to check that out. I'll come back to you within a day. And it just diffuses it straight away.
Takes the responsibility away, and you don't have to, because sometimes when you react, you do the wrong thing. It gives you time to think and make the right decision for that person, doesn't it? Definitely.
I always think that is just the easiest way, because then there's no one can take it any further there. So as far as your time split, because obviously you're a very busy lady, and obviously we sit on the board at Babtac together. We're on the hair and beauty charity committee today.
I love all these things we do.
And how do you fit everything in? Because obviously you've got the 4 salons, you've got the family as well. I mean, you've got a grown-up family now. I mean, I only had 2 cats and a husband, but you've got so much going on. You've got the 4 salons, you've got a team of 40, you've got your family, you've got lots of people
to help me, haven't I? I'm
Are you
very
a good delegator?
Do you know I am? I didn't used to be, but I think if you want to grow, you've got to learn to be. So sometimes I look at things and think, oh, and then I think, come on, Sara, it's not the end of the world. It's fine. And that's important, to be able to pass things over to people and to be able to have honest conversations with them. That if you don't like the way it's done, it's totally fine. But let's talk about how together we can find a better way of doing it next time. So yeah, I do. I communicate well. I ring people up. I speak to them. I speak to them on WhatsApp. I do voice notes because obviously my home and my family, like you, are the most important thing to me. I love my work and it's my life, but they come first, and you have to be able to delegate to balance that. And I feel especially when you live in the North, it's so important to get out there in the industry. I don't want to let my clients down. So I think going to London, being blessed to be able to judge, work with Babtac, work with the Hair and Beauty Charity, meet people, amazing people like you and all your amazing ladies. You learn so much, don't you? And you make sure that your knowledge is as great as it can be. You speak to as many people as you can, and you know what's out there, you know what's going on. And yeah, it's just being out there. That's my job, so that I don't let my team down, so that I don't let my clients down, so that I know what's going on and I talk to people. And don't you think as well, Susan, I can learn from the restaurant we're sitting in, the way our coffee's served. I can learn from our new apprentice because I love being among young people. We learn from every generation and from every business and every, whether it's a train journey, we're always learning and thinking how we can transfer that skill to our own business and give a better service, a better experience to our teams and our clients. Because let's be honest, if we look at our teams and they're happy, then that's when they can make the clients happy.
Yeah. I mean, hats off to you, Sarah. I mean, you do so much and so brilliantly as well. So what are the next plans for Glow and for Sara?
Okay. I love having new salons. I would have more salons, definitely. I'm a bit rubbish at planning, to be honest. I love working in the industry. I want to keep doing that as much as I can. I love doing stuff like this, throwing myself into new things that I've not done before. Any opportunity, that I'm just open to it. We were a training school at Glow, and then I had my 3 children in 3 years. I had them all quite close together, so it was a bit of a tricky period. So I had to let something go. So I stopped doing the training. So now they're big and grown up, I need to get back into training as well. And we do train every day at Glow, but I'd like to, for the girls really, if you get that, so they can, some of our girls have been with us a long time and they might not want to do treatments 24/7. So perhaps if I develop some sort of Glow, Get Ready to Glow training school, or 1, 2, 3 Glow, there's lots of concepts at training school, then it gives them a new angle. Like we opened that salon number 3 for Naomi, then I've got to think about how I'm going to keep my teams motivated and progressing with me. So, but I'm open to anything. So if anyone out there.
So just before so do you have a budget for training, or do you just go with what you need? Because obviously, again, that's a huge investment for you.
Yeah, it's massive. It is huge, and it's scary as well. So we have to do what we need. I do keep an eye on the costs. Any white space in the salon, no shows, we have a training plan that slots right in. So no time is wasted. All our front of house staff are also, they're usually leaders and therapists. So we can use them as well, which that works really well when someone's off ill. We've got front of house staff that can do that. So I've got the wonderful Jennifer who keeps an eye on all my figures. I work with my husband who looks at the figures as well. I'm about to work hopefully with a lovely lady who's going to help me with that, because you can't do everything and I haven't been great at figures. So that's for the future. I'm going to get better at knowing my figures more, definitely. I think as well, because I work with my husband, we had to have a clear line of what he did and what I did. So I get on with what I do and he gets on with that. But yeah, I'm going to get a bit nosy with my figures. But training, no, we train every day, Susan, every single day, from apprentices to people who have been with us for a long, long time. And the companies are fabulous. We try and use those because it's great to train in Glow, but it's amazing to step out of Glow and train with companies. Whether it's a good or bad experience, it will either reassure you that what you're doing is great, or you'll learn something, but you'll learn something from good or bad experiences. But I'd say most of the training out there with the companies we use is exceptional.
And the other thing is as well, because once you've got a team who are mingling with other members of teams, then I think they come back and appreciate exactly what they've got as well. So it's quite good as well. It's quite good for them all to be mixed on. And obviously, I know you inspire all of my Beauty Directors Club members as well.
Well, they're all amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I learn so much when I spend time with you guys. I love it. I absolutely love it. So thank you always for having me.
So, obviously, we have covered quite a lot. You still do quite a bit of public speaking as well.
Yes, so I enjoy that. I do enjoy that. Sometimes I used to get a little nervous, but now I think, do you know what? Just talk about what you know and what I don't know. That's another thing. Oh, there's so much I don't know, but I'm not afraid to say I don't know that or I can't do that, but I will then find out. And we're always working on ourselves as well, aren't we? And trying to be better and know more and work on our weaknesses. Gosh, I've got many. And I also know my faults. I can be so annoying. I must be so annoying to be with sometimes because I do flit a lot and jump around.
Never.
But yeah, so I do try and, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much. This has just been
Thank you.
so good. So if someone wants to look a little bit closer at Glow Salons, or where can anyone find information about you and the salon?
So we have a website. We need a new website, but we have a website. And also, if anyone ever wants to reach out to me, to talk about anything, I'm always my number's there, and
Brilliant.
they can always ring me.
And what we'll do is we'll put all the information as well into the show notes as well, and we'll also put the information in about Forest, especially for if anyone's interested in multi-site as well.
If they want to talk to me as well about things like that, that's great, or one of our girls or something like that.
Growth can be scary, and I think
they make it so simple, don't they? They really do make, and it's not scary. It's great. I love it.
And then always, obviously, on my website, on susanroutledge.com, there's lots of free resources and different things on there.
And so diverse, the knowledge that you give out as well. I mean, it crosses, and so many contacts with so many companies, because how do we know when everything's out there, what's good and what's great and what's terrible? And that's where
thank you.
You're a big support.
Oh, I've enjoyed this. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sara.
Thank you too. Thanks for having me.